Welcome to Happily Distracted. I'm Leyla. I put the HD in ADHD. Around here, distraction isn't the problem. It's the party. Welcome to Happily Distracted. I'm Leyla Phillip, your host, and I'm here to remind you that distractions are not a problem. They're the party. But here's what's going to be the most fun today. I actually have my husband as my guest. So, guys, welcome Dan Caton to Happily Distracted podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Well, good. So how do you feel being a guest on my podcast today?
Like any other day of the week.
So Dan is really fortunate to have a wife with total ADHD and a lot of the hyperactivity part. Dan, what's it like having a wife with ADHD?
I don't notice it as much as I've become used to it. I don't think it's just ADHD. I think you have a high expectations of what you want out of every day, whether it's work or personal or now this. But I think that's admirable. The only hard part is trying to be readily available when the direction does spin back my way.
That's a good point. Do you have like moments where you think, oh my gosh, what's the biggest ADHD wife moment that you've witnessed in our home?
There's a couple, but they're so harmless and innocuous. Sometimes it's your glasses, sometimes it's your keys, sometimes it's your phone, and sometimes it's as easy as just staying out of your way when the tornado comes rolling through.
I actually think you're pretty good about like understanding.
Oh, I'm amazing.
Do you hear that? No, I think you're really good when I'm switching subjects, or we can talk about something like the day before. And when you're ADHD, I'm ready to talk about it again, even though you had no idea that I'm bringing up another subject. I actually feel like
That's actually a really good one for those that don't know. Sometimes she'll have 50% of the conversation in her head, and I get brought in on the tail end, and I'm completely confused.
I know you'll be like so nice. You'll be like, what are we talking about right now? And I'm like, oh no, remember when I said that we were talking about this like 2 days ago? And you're like, okay, yeah, let's not track it. But no, when you think about it, like what's your first impression of me? What was your first impression of me when we were like when we started like dating?
Yeah, no, that's actually really a good question. I'll have to give myself a little bit of an out. Keep in mind, because how we knew each other a decade or so earlier, very from a distance almost.
Yeah.
I had a preconceived notion of who you were. There were a couple times through our lives where our circles would almost intersect. The first picture I ever saved of you is your LinkedIn profile picture because, well, it's a really pretty picture. I think the smile that you have on that, to me, best represents you kind of going into every day with the best intention and the best outcome and a lot of grace towards others, except me. But so when I first met you, same thing I tell everybody. I think you're incredibly sweet. I love your heart. I'm not saying this is the only reason because there's many reasons, but
True.
I knew I loved you because you were just a really kind person, and that's all I ever really looked for.
Oh, thank you. Well, obviously, that's how I feel about you. But people are probably like, "What is this? What is this sappy? We're happily distracted.
It'll get weird. Trust me.
Right? It's always going to be weird.
Buckle up.
Buckle up for the ride." When did you realize, like, honestly, when we were dating, when did you realize that I wasn't just a little quirky, but I was literally, honestly, like full-blown content, kind of like what you live with every day? I mean, I think I can name a few moments, but I'll let you.
Certainly the insane 5 a.m. Orange Theory workouts. I think there was a time that we were going out on some friends' boats, and the preparation for that felt like it was a trip to outer space versus a ride in the bay.
It's hard for me to get it together. Maybe like me packing up stuff.
Well, again, it was just a day boat ride, so there was no packing involved, but the shoes probably took 45 to 50 minutes.
Was I trying to decide which ones? Oh yeah, that's right. One of my big moments when we were dating that you probably were like, what the hell, is when I invited you into my condo and I was going through my bottle stage.
That.
Yeah.
I must have blocked that out. That was Dexter-ish, serial killer-ish. I'm not going to lie. I was a little worried. Like there was thousands of bottles.
So wait, I got to interrupt you though, because the audience needs to know. So during the pandemic, I I picked up the habit of going outside and digging in farmland, all these old bottles. I became obsessed with the bottles. I knew everything about the dates of the bottles. I knew the bottle makers. And because, so I was collecting them. Then I decided not to just collect them, I was going to paint them. I was supposed to take them to like fairs and stuff and sell them, but that's a whole other idea. So I had so many, and I had shelves and shelves of them. Like literally, I had a store in my house. And mind you, I don't know. I thought that was normal. When I invited you up, I said, yeah, I've been collecting bottles.
Well, I want to push back. You really thought that was normal?
Why wouldn't I have? It's me. No, I love this. I think, let's talk about it. Like, were you like, oh my God, she's so hot and sexy, but now I've walked into her house and there's bottles
Well,
everywhere.
you're leading the witness. So,
I always do.
So,
it's my humility.
Yeah. I think you had an epiphany though when you saw the look on my face, and they weren't just on shelves; they were on the floor. They were everywhere. And
I had a plan, people. I had a plan.
I mean, I'm sure you were like, "Oh God, I thought this was normal. I realize now it's not."
Okay, so really, I didn't have that epiphany. I thought it was funny because he was in shock, but nothing about that made me go, "Oh my God, I really need to." Because I'm not a hoarder, just that that literally was a hobby, and I went all the way in that hobby, and I abandoned the hobby because I have 3 bottles left in the house. Yeah, I was over it.
Well, they were cool. Absolutely. I mean, look, they were cool. I mean, when you slow down,
name everything,
and you took a little look at them, like they went so far back, the level of detail and stuff like that. But for the record, you may not be a hoarder, but at that moment, you were actually, in fact, hoarding bottles. So,
I was, but I was giving them away to people because I was really, really attached to them. With that, okay, I have habits, you have habits, but what are the habits? Do you have any habits about me that do drive you nuts? That you're like, oh my gosh, like I wish you didn't do that, or it drives you a little crazy, but you maybe find it endearing now?
Well, I don't know if I find any of them endearing, but I think I've learned to adapt because, again, you have a lot going on all the time. You accomplish an incredible amount of a day. I mean, obviously, your job has a lot of moving parts. This has a lot of moving parts, and you've dove into that gracefully. But I think it's when I just happen to be in the same room, and then I get sucked into the vortex of whatever it is you're doing, right? Whether it's reading a text or seeing something,
Right.
that sort of thing. So all I do is, if I do need quiet time, or I'm focusing on something or just doing something, I just make sure I'm in a different room. That's all.
I get it. I get it. And it's interesting because I also have those moments where when I am in a hyper focus and I've got to get something done, but it's not even that I have to get it done. It probably should have been done
But you get it
days ago. Right. But when I'm in a hyper focus, like he's able to remove himself from the room, go have his downtime. When I have hyper focus at that moment, inside my head, like I remove myself. I don't even want to be bothered with anybody, let alone my husband, but because I'm so hyper focused and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a window of opportunity. I want to get this done. I'm hyper focused. Like, don't ask me questions. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Like, it's just very interesting moments. And I work on trying to be graceful with that.
But I don't think you need to. I think that's normal. I think when you have something of high priority and you're trying to be great at it, whatever it is, work, hobby, whatever, concentration is required.
Yeah, but it's funny when you say concentration is required, that's from a non-ADHD person. Because for me, it's like, concentration is required, but I only concentrate when I want to, or when I feel the need, or I have the motivation to.
Yeah.
So when I have the motivation to concentrate and I'm in that hyper focus and I'm like, wow, I'm getting it done, I don't even know anything that's around me.
But I think you're making my point in the sense of when you have that moment,
Yeah.
when it's either that you have the capability or the desire to be focused, you should want to take advantage of it.
And I do, because I don't have but what I'm trying to tell you is I don't have a choice in taking advantage of it. It's just happened and it's hit me and I'm going for it. And when I say take advantage of it, that's a matter of like when you're around me and I'm in that hyper focus, sometimes like in the mornings or whatever, and like I'm being quiet and you're like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And I'm like, oh my God, in my head, I'm like, oh my God, don't talk to me. Don't say a fucking word because I'm
Well, I
hyper
just want to make sure I'm
focused.
not in trouble, man.
But you're
That's
not.
self.
Yeah, but I swear to you, I swear, y'all, he's not. But literally in my head, and I think if anybody's listening, they have ADHD at that moment, you want to be like, don't fucking talk to me because I'm never going to get this report done. And now I want to get it done and I'm on a roll. But like, I'm not going to go through and explain all that because if I did, then I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. So that's just an interesting ADHD moment that I just talked about. So
Welcome back.
yeah, welcome back. Everybody bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. No, honestly, like I have all these like interview questions because I'm going to interview Dan, but I kind of thinking that we just need to just talk about us. So guys, I started dating Dan a few years ago. We had a very quick dating, right? We dated, got engaged in like 6 months. Oh, which actually comes me to want to tell a story about our engagement ring. So I was very clear to Dan about, obviously, when we fell in love, we wanted to be married. We were going to get engaged. We talked about it. So we had like the summer before our engagement, and I'd circled rings, and I was really clear about what I wanted, and I was all excited. But I will tell you, when Dan and I would have those discussions, Dan's a lot more conservative than I am in terms of like clothing and just different things like that. And maybe just in a lot of things. Life, like, I talk and say a bunch of things that he probably would just keep to himself and not say them out loud to a bunch of people where I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to say it. But so therefore he kept saying, I don't understand, like a diamond is so beautiful. And isn't that like a ring that tells people like you're engaged? And I was like, yeah, it's not what I want. I want an aquamarine. So we had but the most incredible moment was Dan and I getting engaged. It was incredible. I was so excited, so in love. And Dan proposed to me, ladies and gentlemen, with the ring that I did not want. And can you imagine being in love, finding your person? I mean, Dan is in my phone as my person. No, as my forever. And when he turned around and he said all these gorgeous, beautiful things, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, this is the moment. I'm getting married to him. And he opened up this gorgeous, huge diamond that anybody in the world would have said like, oh my God, that's phenomenal. And I was, in my head, I was like, that's not the ring I wanted. So let's let Dan take it from there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got to own that one. It was funny because I remember we had very clear pictures. And I mean, when you were saying aquamarine, you might as well have been saying tiramisu to me. I didn't know what the fuck that was. And I don't know if it's as much as being conservative as it is, I think, very traditionally about certain milestones.
That's a better word, actually.
So for those of you who don't know, Leyla has a sister, Monia, who's amazing. Monia just looks at me sometimes like I have three heads, like, what is wrong with you? But when I got into Zachary's and Steve Samaras, and who great guy, downtown Annapolis, please go see him. He's amazing. I just took a hard left, and I was like, fuck it, let's do this, and I just got caught up because to me I was also excited about it. I was really, because right before I promised Leyla before we moved in together we would be engaged. And so we bought this place and we were getting some things moved in. I remember I ran upstairs and I went to show Monia and I think possibly Sophia.
I know Isabella, my daughter.
Isabella, right. And I just remember the look on Monia's face. And I chalked up the time like, hey man, we're just unboxing some things. We're busy. It's great.
What did she do? I didn't know this.
It was like simply an acknowledgement, kind of like, wow. Not like, oh my gosh, beautiful. Like, and she knew because she's known you her whole life. Obviously, your sisters. She was like, oh boy. But I get it. I'm a terrible listener. And I'm slowly but surely digging out of my ruts of lifetime as a single guy.
Tell everybody how long you were single till you met me. I mean, like single, like married, like, like you could have dated people in between and stuff. But
well, I mean,
that's normal, but Like 10 years. More than that?
Like single? Like
Yeah.
not being married?
Yeah.
Do you not know me? I mean, it had to be 40,
Oh, Lord have
35
mercy.
years. I mean,
Oh, yeah, no, I was
got,
thinking about your engagement, right?
so I got married. I got engaged when I was really young. So, all of a sudden I was like, oh man, I'm 23. I should probably start thinking about settling down and blah, blah, blah. And I remember I got married and it was terrible. I got out in 6 months. I was like, oh my God, this is not the life for me. And then I just kind of went on my own and started on a new career. I was moving around. I did get engaged to somebody
Well, whatever.
mid 2000s or whatever, but got out of that really quick. But I would say I've been single easily for at least 40,
Oh my
40
gosh.
years,
I know. Isn't that like if I tell people that story, they'd be like, what's wrong with
30
him?
years. So
That's a
yeah.
red flag. People are like, that's a red flag. But it's actually not a red flag because that was perfect. But it was interesting for me because that night, like we were like telling people and it was amazing. But like the whole time, once I put my head down at night, I was like the little kid that I have known myself to be. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do about the ring? And I was like texting my sister and like one of my best guy friends, Sean, and my friend Lynn. I don't know what to do. And it was like it was a really, really hard
Of
thing
course, I bet.
because it wasn't about the ring, because my God, the ring you showed me was stunning. I mean, it was gorgeous. And it really became something about it wasn't what I had asked for. And felt like I wasn't being listened to.
Which is accurate.
Yeah,
Right.
but also I just think about when I was able to share that with you, and communicate it appropriately versus it sounding like this ridiculous, complaint. I will never forget your reaction when I called you and I said, this is where I'm coming from and this is where I'm triggered and I want to be in a relationship where I'm heard. And your reaction, I can tell you, I was sitting in the car about to go see a customer and I was like, I have to have this conversation. But your reaction completely felt for me like someone had given me a warm blanket to put on because you immediately were like, that is all I need to know. And it just really, it was amazing. Like it was, because it could have gone either way, right? So your reaction was so comforting and so understanding. And ladies and gentlemen, the result of that was I have a 15.7 carat gorgeous aquamarine with tons of diamonds and it's fabulous and it's everything I wanted and more. It's this absolutely stunning ring. But there's so much more meaning behind that, right?
Yeah, I think it was important. I liked the way you brought it up because it was disarming for me as well. Because again, I'm being single so long, I was wired to immediately go to a place of, hey, if you don't want it, you don't want it, you know. But I think the way you brought it up was helpful. But I also think like, hey man, that's not how we want to start off our life together. Settling. No one wants to settle for anything major in their life.
Yeah.
And certainly us. And we met late, and
Yeah.
I love you, and I'd rather do things not necessarily the right way, but the way that works for both of us.
Yeah. And listen, I just feel like we continue to grow. We continue to learn. It hasn't, I mean, there's a lot of things that I've learned about myself where it's like, I don't always have to, I don't always, I don't always have to be right. I don't always have to win. Not everything's a competition, but also, I think sometimes, listen, I'm the youngest in my family. I don't consider myself to be spoiled, but I do consider myself to be someone who probably required a lot of attention
Can I
growing
tell
up.
a story about when I first met your mom?
Oh, yeah. What'd she say?
So your parents are amazing, and right when you walk into Layla's family that a sense of humor is welcome, and my sense of humor tends to be sarcastic, but awesome.
He is funny.
But I remember I looked at her mom. I was like, "What was that even like?" We've been dating for a while now, and I started seeing all these quirks and these things. And she looks at me with a straight face, and she goes, "It was hard." And I was
exhausting.
like, "Wow, she's not kidding." She was dead serious.
Were you like, what the hell have I gotten into?
No, I mean, I knew what I got myself into. Believe it or not, I think that's why I love your parents so much is her candor. It's just an easier place to live, where people are just shooting to you straight. You don't have any second guessing. You cut out all the noise of doubt and that sort of thing. But it was funny. I thought it was funny.
I always have the scenes of when I would come to, and like we would date, and then like I'd come over to your place or whatever. And I remember you always would walk down to greet me because you always wanted to walk me from the parking lot into your place, and it was so cute. But he would be ready, and I would literally just be getting out of my car, and it was a show. I was like grabbing my keys. Wait, where are my keys? Wait, where's my bag? Like, and I mean, that gave you a little bit of a clue. But in the beginning
Oh, I knew it was a clusterfuck.
yeah, exactly. I was going to say, because like in the beginning, it could be cute, but then like really, this is what you're getting into. I remember, like, obviously, I'm totally 100% myself, so I wasn't going to be anybody but me. But I remember when you were so sweet and you were like, you know what? I'm getting some planners from some of my guys at work. Do you want me to get you one? I was like, oh, yeah, that'd be great. And that was that one moment where I was trying to act like somebody else. Because I remember you gave me that planner, and then at one point you're like, do you use it? And I'm like, nope. I don't know why I did that. I think it was a way to be like, yeah, I'm really organized. But I wasn't.
I tried to very naively try to help with the keys and that sort of thing. So we got some
Oh, that's
tags.
right.
With not the Apple tags, but the
Tile. Was it
tile. We got tiles.
Yeah.
And then it's still in there. We got this big, giant, yellow, orange, fluorescent, like key tag that literally just held her house key. I was like, how could she possibly lose this? I mean,
I don't use it.
No, because it didn't work.
Yeah, no, it was like the hell with that. We're we're not doing all that. But
yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, listening to the podcast, something that I love about Dan is I never hid the fact that like, sure, I'm smart and beautiful and kind and nice, and intellectual, but I don't. It's
humble.
Like very humble. I remember I would say things to Dan, and he'd be like, "But your humility is what's standing out." But I always, when I say and make those kind of jokes, like it's just, I make non-humility jokes on purpose because I think it's funny to see how people will react.
I think there's some
And I mean
jokes.
everything I say. No, I'm just joking. But I was like, hey, listen, I'm a huge Bravo fan. And he was like, what's Bravo? No, I'm just joking. You really didn't know much about Bravo.
No.
When we started dating. Like, you know nothing about it.
Not at all.
And he was like, I don't know who watches that junk. It's the
Well, keep in mind how Bravo started. Bravo started like almost in the arts, and then they made that huge shift to what they are now, which is reality. But Bravo wasn't always like it is now. When Bravo first came out, it was very arts.
Well, you're older than me, so I wouldn't have known that part of Bravo.
So we're talking about a streaming station, so age doesn't really come in.
Right, but I mean, it was on regular, like you could get it right on regular TV. So I remember, like, look, I can't, like, we're gonna do something. I'm like, no, I can't because I'm watching Real Housewives, and I think it was in the summer. I don't know what had started in the summer, but it was a reunion, and we were watching a reunion. I don't know if it was Atlanta or whatever it was. It was in the summer, and I said, well, and then it was. And then he was like, wait a second. And he just started watching it. And then he started asking me questions. I was like, look, you're going to need to go back and you're going to need to watch all these episodes because you can't do this to me. Like, I can't catch you up on it. But I was trying to explain to you everybody's like personalities, whatever show it was. And then he got hooked. But how, like, it's the best. But like, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how we love Housewives. Let's do some TV confession.
Well, there were some layers to that journey, first of all.
Yeah,
so I went into it with the full intent of not just not liking it, but making sure I hated on it overtly. And then it slowly turned into me trying to legitimize it. And the next thing I know, I was taking sides. I had like favorites and not favorites. And then it dawned on me. I was like, oh God, I'm in. And then I had like 7 housewife shows that I watched.
Okay, so out of the Bravo Housewives, which one's your favorite? Like, let's talk about like we got the
Married to Medicine.
Oh, see that you hear that Bravo? Oh my God, he loves Married
But there's
to
a
Medicine.
reason.
Okay, tell me why.
Because most of the reality shows, and I'm here for it, are train wrecks. They're just train wrecks, and that's all they are. But Married to Medicine, I think it's a really successful group of people who legitimately are close. But there's also a lot of events in there where they're doing really, really great things. So you get both, you
Yeah.
get these really, because it's hard to believe a really smart group of people aren't also doing wonderful things. And mostly in the housewife shows, you're just seeing what I think are silly and very vapid things. So I don't know. They're just, and they all, but even Married to Medicine has a couple, people on there that will give you just enough to keep you hooked,
Who's your favorite? Okay, Married to Medicine. Who would be your favorite? Do you have a favorite for Married to Medicine?
So there's two answers to that. My favorite is Jackie, because I just think she's always the voice of reason, and, it was kind of cool seeing something she did with the vice president at the time. But Heavenly, man, because she just says some just terrible, hateful shit, and she does not walk it back. So
Dr. Heavenly. But you love, hey, your favorite husband on Married. Like, you really like those husbands on Married to Medicine.
well, and they're also, I think, a lot more involved. But to me, I think they're more realistic of all the reality shows because it's the women that go in there and, there's ultimately a fight, depending on who it is. And the guys always stay close, and there's like Simone's husband. I think he's
Cecil.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then Toya's husband. I
he's-
love him.
Oh, I love him with the boys too.
I like
when
them
they're
all.
with their boys, it's like,
Because I feel like they're actually really, really real. Like I think the way they say, and they can laugh at themselves, and
They do.
and they can laugh at
They're
like,
smoking
the lack of
cigars when the women are
control.
fighting.
They're knowing they have zero control in their relationship, and they're like, "Hey, man, I'm just trying to make it day to day."
well, it's funny too. I think one of the best lines, which could literally be a tagline. They all have taglines like
Yeah.
"I'm this, I'm that." I think what you could make your tagline be is when you're talking to your friend Dave
Orso,
Orso,
greatest realtor in Maryland.
that's awesome. He's such a great guy. And you were like, I was talking to Orso about the housewives or something. And what did he say to you?
We were all together. You were there.
Oh.
We were looking at houses. I think we were over in like
yeah.
Safer and whatever.
Whatever.
And you kind of went on your way into another room, and he's like, "This woman is strangely enough really into you."
Oh.
And he goes, "You need to learn to take a knee."
Were you like, what the hell is he talking about? I thought we're just trying to looking for houses.
Well, no, I knew what he was talking about, but at first I was like, I'm not going to take a knee. But then all of a sudden it dawned on me. I was like, wow, this guy's wise beyond his years.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so so your favorite's Married to Medicine. But I can tell you guys, when I get to watch Housewives with Dan, it's so awesome. And sometimes I'll get to watch a show ahead of him, and he'll be like, "Wait, you already watched the show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, buddy, you got to catch up. Let me know when you're caught up. We'll get ready for the next episode." But it's the best for me. But the things he says are hilarious, and he's so right when you're like making your judgments and stuff like that. And then we both talk about how we would handle certain things. So quite frankly, I just think it's so much fun to be able to share Bravo with you, right? And all those things. So what would your tagline be? So I guess if you were Bravo house husband or housewife, your tagline would be taking, it's okay, I'll take a knee, or what?
No, not okay. Take a knee.
Okay, perfect. I don't know what mine would be. If you could make up a tagline for me, because I want to be on the Housewives, I want to be on Potomac Housewives. What do you think my tagline would be?
I have a rule for everything.
That's so funny. Yeah, I don't really think I do. He says I have
you don't
rules.
have to follow any.
I don't know. Listen, I don't have rules for everybody because that seems hypocritical.
Okay.
Or what rule do I have?
Let's
There's
just agree
so
to
many of
disagree.
them.
But as you
Okay.
have more guests that are close to you on this, I bet there's a common denominator.
Speaking of guests, I won't be having my sister on, who's amazing. But I think part of, our marriage doing so well and Dan getting to understand me is that I have a sister that I'm incredibly close to, who is like a sister to Dan. And she was what Dan would call the Leyla whisperer.
Yeah.
What is a Layla whisperer? Because there's only a few people who can do that.
Yeah.
I would say it'd be my sister, it would be Lynn.
I don't know as much Lynn. I know you have a lot of respect for Lynn and you love Lynn.
But Monia's
Moni's the only
definitely the
one.
Layla
Only
whisperer.
one. And it was also right when we were moving in here. Monia and I were down on the first floor. We were trying to solve a problem, or we were
He
coming
had
up with
so much
something,
stuff.
and whatever it was, Layla would come down, and I know she thought she was solving a problem, but what she was is she was just shining a big bright light on somewhere I made a mistake and why it was my fault. And I was letting it bother me. And Monia goes, "Hey Layla, can you go up to the top floor and measure the windows?" And I was like, "What is she talking about?" And Layla goes up there, and Monia looks at me with a straight face. She goes, "Don't get mad. Just give her a task." And I was like, wow. I literally, my sister-in-law is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I was like, it was so impressive. Monia's
She, she
amazing.
she's a genius. She's a genius. But well, what he doesn't know is Monia is so amazing because when I walked into the townhouse that we bought together, I was overwhelmed by all the man cave or just stuff that he had in the house. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you the behind the scenes story that I can share that he doesn't know. So, I walk in the house and I literally was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to move my stuff in. This like how are we going to do this?" Like this man has had shit in storage for 4 years where my sister said to him, "Let's go to the storage first and check everything out." And he's like, "Oh man, I got these awesome leather couches. I got like paintings. I got all kinds of stuff." And I was like, "Oh wow, he must have some really nice furniture and stuff." So, you know, I walked in and all I saw were these big brown leather, oversized couches and stuff. Huge. He's like, "I got this awesome table from Pottery Barn. It's a farm table and it's gorgeous." But I was like, oh my God, it was just a lot. And then I had all our house furniture, which I just think is just stunning and beautiful. And I called my sister and I started crying. I go, "I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't handle this." And so it was one of those moments. And she's like, "No problem. I got this." And I was like, what are we going to do? And then, you know what? About a half hour later, I got a call from my, at that time, soon to be husband. And he said, "Hey, you know what's really cool? Your sister Monia's coming over this weekend. She's going to help me get organized. And I'm so excited. She's going to help us." And that was it. And I thought, Monia to the rescue. So you didn't know that, but that's what she did. Because I was like panicking because I was coming from my condo. We both have lived on our own for a
Yeah.
really, really long
Yeah.
time. So it was one of those moments. But anyway, I digress. But I want to get back to our reality shows. So what I love is now that Dan is like totally into it with me, there's something like a new show that comes on and I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm not sure this will be his thing." So I'm just going to watch it all because I think I'd be pushing it saying, "Hey, do you want to check it out?" And what I'm referring to is Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I thought he would never watch it. I told him about it. He's like, "Yeah, whatever." It happens to be like a Saturday. It's raining. I'm getting all excited about the second season. And he starts watching it with me. And before I know it, he's sitting on the couch with me. Next thing I know, he's got his pillow with me, and we are on episode 3, 4. Like then we finish it. Well, he didn't finish it. I had already finished it. And then I came to the house like 2 weeks later, and he was watching the last episode, and I could not be happier. Can you believe that you actually watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and you like it?
Yeah, that would surprise me a little bit, but they cut it up real well, man. They keep you coming back for more. So
No, they do, and they make that one easier. Okay, so I'm looking at these things, and these things are like these note cards because I'm so incredibly organized with my ADHD that I put everything on note cards that I don't even use. So now that Dan is, married to an influencer and a TikTok and Instagram star, what's that like? Because, you are really patient. You're really amazing. I'm putting all kinds of reality out there. And you are literally my number one supporter, which gives me so much confidence to do what I'm doing. So what's that like for you? Because I got to tell you, I love you for that.
No, I mean, that's nice of you to say. I don't think it was that much for me to get used to. I don't know if you remember yesterday, I told Lynn, because they literally asked the same question. I said, this has been going on since I've known Layla. Now just cameras happen to be on. So nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. It's now just other people get to bear witness and maybe I garner some sympathy.
He garners some sympathy. Well, I tell you, he's such a huge fan of the content that I'm putting out. He's so supportive of me putting out content about really sharing my truth, my authenticity, my past addiction. You've been so loving and kind to me towards that, and I think there's something to be said for people who are dating and getting to know each other. Sometimes you might be afraid of judgment of elements of your past, especially when you're meeting that person where you really become like who you are, and you're, just I think just not being afraid to share that with you and know that you would still be there. I think is something that I absolutely love, and I hope that maybe people listening to that, listening to us, will see that. So because I think you're really special in that aspect. I think you're really patient. I think you're really kind. But yeah, I think that you've just been I just think all this black girl magic all around you. I always got to bring it. I always got to bring it. I always got to make you laugh. But people say to me, "Oh my God, that's amazing. He made that black girl magic video." And I'm like, he didn't. He had no idea. I just wanted to make it because I just think I've seen somebody else do it online. And I thought, well, let me put together the pictures of Dan when we first started dating and Dan now. And I had no idea how well that those videos were going to get like 10,000 views and things like that. But it was great. Did you have any idea that you were going to be like online? Because I didn't even ask for your consent for that video.
I mean, I knew it was coming, but again, I don't know. It just doesn't feel that intrusive. I just think it's all pretty seamless and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate it because you're a huge part of my dreams. And here I am with a podcast. Here I am with the #1 podcast worldwide, Happily Distracted.
Or at least on our block.
Yeah, that's right. And we got to start somewhere. But hey, you know what? You have to think big and you got to be positive. So let's do some rapid questions. Ready? Here's the first one. Happily distracted. Tell me how you're happily distracted, or what's your happy distraction?
Certainly the NFL, and Bristol. A little quiet time with Bristol.
Of the dog.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're the NFL right now. You're distracted with the NFL?
It's always on. I mean,
Oh.
they're always covering something.
Okay. What word, if you had one word to describe me in the morning, what would it be?
Loud.
If I had, I don't know if I could describe you. Well, I'd say if I had one word to describe you in the morning, I would say focused, because you do that like crossword puzzle with my sister. They do like crossword puzzles. They try to get me involved. I'm not doing any of that shit. We got to find the words. Whatever is it? What is it that you do? Wordle?
It's 4 of them. It's all New York Times, but yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. So they do that. I do not. They always try to include me. I'm like, no, it's like asking me to a book club. Okay, so describe our marriage in 3 emojis. Right? Interesting.
Yeah. Certainly heart, smiley face, just because every once in a while I don't know. I like to imagine what life would be without you, and I instantly regret how that feels. Because I think it, I don't know, it's just my way of never taking anything for granted. And the other one, so heart, smiley face, and exclamation point.
Okay, so I'm going to do that. If I'm going to ask you that question, I want to do it too. So I would say the smiley face with the heart. The other emoji, it comes to my head, this is for us, and describing our marriage, is that 100.
Oh, that's
You
a
know
good
that
one.
100 where it's like,
That's a good one.
100. I
You're
don't
better
know.
at this than I am.
No, I didn't even like. It's funny.
Yeah,
This is
it's
only.
good.
This is really for me to ask you, but I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
oh, let me do this. I
Yeah.
want me try me
That's
next.
a good one.
So I would do the 100, and then I would do the one where the person's like this, like what the hell, that confusing one. But
Yeah.
or like okay, but that's not like the third choice. And then honestly, I just would do the one with the praying hands. And I don't know why, but it comes to my head to describe our marriage. And I just think because really we give each other a lot of grace.
Yep.
I'm learning to express when things, aren't where I want them to be. It's a very difficult thing for me to actually express my feelings, like one-on-one in the relationship. I can tell everybody else my feelings, like when I'm giving directions or I'm being direct or whatever. But like the deep things, I think that's something that like I'm continuing to work on.
Yeah, you great.
Yeah, and yeah, no, but it wasn't always.
No, I agree. I agree.
You know what I mean?
But that's the journey of our relationship, right? And
I
I think
know,
you're doing.
but I want people to know. I know
Yeah.
I'm doing well, but I'm just saying you too. But I think that it's important, When I say those things, it doesn't mean that like you have to be like, oh, well, congrats. Yeah,
No. I'm acknowledging because I see it and
Yeah.
I appreciate it
yeah, right, and I
because it's based on my needs, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's not all about me.
Right.
Despite what I joke about, it's not all about me. So, and I think one of the biggest takeaways I've learned in our relationship is, when you do things a certain way, and this is for people especially who have dated and are older and have been by themselves for a long time, how you function and how you move about the world is really like it's just you. And obviously, I have children, and that matters, but. I think the biggest thing that I learned was you can't go around and say, well, that's how I've always been. That's how I do it. If you want to be in a really beautiful, loving, healthy relationship, right?
Right.
So I think I might have done that a little bit when we were first together. Like, well, that's how I am. I'm Leyla. That's how it is. Like, it's Leyla. And then I was like, you know what? That's not how two people should. It's just not how it goes. And I think that's something that I've been like, you know what? I really do. I mean, obviously, I really care about you and your feelings. But it's not about like, this is how we've always done this. But I think you've done the same thing.
Yeah.
You know? So with that being said, this was fun. We definitely have to do more. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
I was never a little dog person. And then I think when I first met Layla's dog, I called it
You can say it.
a rat dog. And then she has a neighbor, Mr. Skip, that she was really close to, is really close to. And he sent me a video. He heard what I said. And he scolded me and blah, 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 blah. But now I can't get enough of this dog.
Yeah.
So.
And he walks her. He's very disciplined. Like he gets up every morning. I mean, it's freezing. Actually, I think I married you. I think I married you so you could walk the dog. It's like, I'm just joking.
I could believe that.
It tracks.
Right, it tracks. That's fun.
It's so much fun. Well, that's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Happily Distracted. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for giving a warm welcome to my husband, Dan, because without him, this wouldn't be here.
You were born for this.
I think so too.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like I absolutely love it. And it's like it's like a big journey, right? I started this a year ago and it's taken a while.
I just wish people knew you the way like the rest of us knew you. Only because it's literally no different. Like there's nothing different about you right now. And I think, which pisses me off a little bit because I feel like you have an advantage over me in this kind of setting because I'm imagining I'm coming across a little bit different. I'm more like I am in the office.
Oh, that's
but
fun.
You're a natural for this. I just think you're really great at this, and I hope to be on again. I can't wait for you to have Monia, and I just keep thinking of people that I'd love for you to interact with because I also think you've got that gift, like a Howard Stern, where you bring out the best of the other person. You're very disarming. But no, I'm proud of you, honey.
Oh, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of this. So, love you, Dan.
Love you too.
That's it for Happily Distracted. I'm Leyla. I put the HD in ADHD. Hit subscribe and come